Chidi lived in Lagos, one of the busiest cities in Nigeria. Every morning, he watched his mother struggle to buy food and clothes from the market. The market was crowded, loud, and confusing, and sellers shouted to be heard over each other. Chidi was a young boy with a bright mind and a big heart, and he hated seeing his mom so frustrated. One day, as he watched her carry heavy bags through the market, an idea popped into Chidi's head. What if I could make the market better, he thought. What if people didn't have to struggle like this? That night, he stayed up late, drawing sketches and writing notes, until he finally had a plan. He would make an app to help people buy and sell things easily in the market. He called it Lagos Market Code. Chidi worked on his app every day after school. He learned how to code from his old computer and borrowed books from the library. He spent hours practicing, trying, and failing, but he never gave up. Slowly, his app began to come to life. It had buttons, pictures, and prices, and he even found a way for people to chat and buy items without leaving home. Finally, after months of hard work, Lagos Market Code was ready. Chidi was thrilled, and he showed the app to his mom. "Look, Mama. Now you can buy food from home, and the sellers can still make money." She was amazed and so proud of her son. She told all her friends, and soon everyone was using Chidi's app. Sellers were happy because they sold more, and buyers loved not having to push through crowds. But not everyone was pleased with Chidi's invention. Some older sellers and powerful people in the market didn't like change. They felt threatened by the new app and feared they would lose money. One evening, Chidi received a message from a man named Mr. Kola. Mr. Kola was one of the most powerful men in the market, and he invited Chidi to meet him. Chidi's mom warned him, "Be careful, my son. Not everyone will understand what you're trying to do. Stay true to yourself." Chidi was a little scared, but he was also excited. Maybe Mr. Kola wanted to help him. He went to the meeting, dressed in his best clothes, and found Mr. Kola waiting for him in a big office near the market. "You must be the young man behind Lagos Market Code," Mr. Kola said, smiling, but there was something cold in his eyes. "Yes, sir," Chidi replied nervously. "Interesting app you have there," Mr. Kola continued. "But it's causing problems for my business. People are buying from your app instead of coming to my shops." Chidi tried to explain, "The app helps people buy things faster, sir. It's good for everyone." But Mr. Kola only laughed. "Young man, I don't care about everyone. I care about my money." He leaned closer to Chidi, his smile disappearing. "Stop your app, or you'll regret it." Chidi felt a chill run down his spine, but he held his ground. "I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I only want to help people." Mr. Kola stood up, towering over him. "Then consider this your warning. You'll be hearing from me again." And with that, he dismissed Chidi without another word. Walking home, Chidi felt worried. He had worked so hard on Lagos Market Code, and it was helping so many people. But Mr. Kola was powerful and seemed dangerous. Chidi wondered what he should do. That night, Chidi couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Mr. Kola's threat and his cold, unkind eyes. What if Mr. Kola tried to stop his app? What if he did something bad to Chidi's family? Chidi was scared, but he knew deep down that Lagos Market Code was helping people. It was making their lives easier and their businesses stronger. He couldn't just let fear stop him. The next morning, Chidi made a decision. He would keep his app running. But he also knew he needed help, so he reached out to his best friend, Zuri. Zuri was smart, fearless, and a great problem solver. When Chidi explained what happened with Mr. Kola, her eyes widened in shock. "Chidi, that sounds serious," Zuri said. "But I believe in you. Lagos Market Code is changing lives. You can't let one greedy man shut it down." Chidi nodded. But I think we need to be careful. Mr. Kola is powerful. He might try to hack the app or scare people away. Zuri thought for a moment. I know someone who might help. My uncle works in cybersecurity. He could teach us how to protect Lagos market code from being hacked. Excited, Chidi and Zuri went to meet Zuri's uncle, Uncle Ode. He was a friendly man with a big laugh, and when he heard their story, he looked both impressed and worried. Chidi, you have a strong spirit, Uncle Ode said. But people like Mr. Kola don't play fair. He might try to hurt your app, or even you. I'll show you how to secure your app so it's harder to hack. For the next week, Uncle Ode taught Chidi and Zuri everything he knew about cybersecurity. They added passwords, firewalls, and hidden codes to protect Lagos market code. Chidi even added a special feature that would alert him if anyone tried to break into the app. But while they were working hard, Mr. Kola was making plans too. One evening, Chidi received a call from his mom. She sounded worried. Chidi, someone left a note at our door. It says, "Stop the app, or else." Chidi felt a wave of fear but didn't want to show it. Don't worry, Mama. I'll be careful. I have friends helping me. The next day at school, Chidi found out that Mr. Kola had started spreading rumors about him and his app. He told the market sellers that Lagos market code was stealing their customers and taking their money. Some people began to believe him, and they stopped using the app. Feeling discouraged, Chidi turned to Zuri. What if people don't trust me anymore? What if Mr. Kola wins? Zuri put a comforting hand on his shoulder. You've already helped so many people, Chidi. You can't give up now. We just have to prove that Lagos market code is good for everyone. Then, Zuri had an idea. What if we show people exactly how much the app helps them? Let's go to the market and talk to sellers directly. They need to hear from you, Chidi, not from Mr. Kola. Together, Chidi and Zuri went to the market. They visited sellers and showed them how the app worked. They explained that Lagos market code brought more buyers because people could order from home and come pick up their items, which saved time. One by one, the sellers began to understand. A vegetable seller, Auntie Muna, smiled and said, I like your app, Chidi. I've had more customers since I started using it. Chidi's heart felt lighter, and he realized something important. Lagos market code wasn't just an app, it was a way for people to connect and support each other. But as things seemed to be improving, Chidi discovered a terrible surprise waiting for him. When Chidi got home that evening, he found his laptop missing. His heart pounded as he searched the house, asking his mom if she'd seen it. She hadn't, and panic started to set in. That laptop had all the codes, plans, and data for Lagos market code. Without it, he couldn't protect the app, update it, or check for security issues. Just then, his phone buzzed with a message. It was from an unknown number, but he had a feeling he knew exactly who it was. The message read, "You didn't listen, did you? Lagos market code will be gone by tomorrow morning. Your precious laptop is safe with me. Stop your app, or things will get worse." Chidi's stomach twisted. Mr. Kola had stolen his laptop. He knew this was bad, but he couldn't give up now. Desperate, he called Zuri and told her what had happened. Chidi, this is serious, Zuri said, her voice steady but worried. But don't panic. I think I know what to do. Let's meet at my uncle's place right now. Maybe he can help us track down the laptop or stop Mr. Kola. They rushed over to Uncle Ed's house and explained everything to him. Uncle Ode listened, his face growing serious. Mr. Kola is crossing a dangerous line. But don't worry, Chidi. We're not going to let him win. Uncle Ode got to work on his computer, typing fast as he opened special programs and ran searches. After a few minutes, he looked up and smiled. Got it. I've traced the laptop's location. It's at an office building near the market, Mr. Kola's building. Chidi's heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. What should we do, Uncle Ode? I can't just walk in there. Uncle Ode thought for a moment, then turned to Zuri. I have an idea. Chidi, you need to be brave. Zuri and I will distract Mr. Kola while you sneak in and grab the laptop. But be careful, he might have people watching. Chidi nodded, determined. He knew this was risky, but he had to try. If he didn't get the laptop back, everything he'd worked for would be lost. The next morning, they put their plan into action. Zuri and Uncle Ode went to Mr. Kola's office, pretending to be customers. They asked to see him and kept him busy with questions about business deals, food supplies, and anything else they could think of. Meanwhile, Chidi slipped into the building through a side door, keeping low and quiet. His heart was pounding so loud he thought someone might hear it. As he crept down the hallway, he saw a small office with a glass door. Through the glass, he spotted his laptop sitting on a desk. Relief and excitement washed over him, but he knew he wasn't safe yet. He quickly grabbed his laptop, but just as he was turning to leave, he heard footsteps approaching. Chidi's mind raced. He had to hide. He ducked under the desk just as a guard entered the room, looking around suspiciously. The guard walked over to the desk, and for a terrifying moment, Chidi thought he'd been spotted. But then the guard turned and left, shutting the door behind him. Chidi let out a shaky breath. He carefully crawled out from under the desk and peeked out into the hallway. It was empty. Holding his laptop tight, he made his way back to the side door and slipped out. As soon as he was safe outside, he ran all the way back to Uncle Ade's house, where Zuri and Uncle Ode were waiting. You did it, Chidi. Zuri cheered when he showed her the laptop. Uncle Ode smiled, proud of his bravery. Chidi grinned, but he knew their work wasn't done yet. We have to stop Mr. Kola from attacking the app again. If he's willing to steal from me, he'll keep trying. With Uncle Ade's help, Chidi and Zuri added even stronger security features to Lagos market code, making it nearly impossible for anyone to break in. They created backup codes and stored them in a secret place, just in case. They also sent a message to all the users, reassuring them that the app was safe. But deep down, Chidi knew Mr. Kola wouldn't give up so easily. And he was right. A few days later, just as Lagos market code was starting to pick up more users, Chidi received another message. This time, it was a video. He opened it cautiously, and his heart sank. The video showed Mr. Kola standing in the market, telling everyone that Lagos market code was stealing from them. He claimed the app was cheating sellers, making them lose money, and even spying on their business secrets. Chidi watched in shock as people in the market, people he thought trusted him, began to frown and murmur. Some looked upset, while others shook their heads in disappointment. A few even closed the app on their phones, believing Mr. Kola's words. Chidi's chest felt tight with anger and sadness. He knew none of this was true, but Mr. Kola had a way of making his lies sound believable. Chidi felt helpless, but Zuri grabbed his arm and looked at him with determination. We can't let him get away with this, Chidi. The people need to know the truth, but we have to be smart about it. Chidi thought about it. He could just tell everyone that Mr. Kola was lying, but he knew it wouldn't be enough. Mr. Kola was respected by many, and he had a lot of influence. They needed proof. Then Chidi had an idea. What if we show people exactly how Lagos market code works? We could make a video ourselves, explaining everything honestly. If we're transparent, people will see the truth. Zuri nodded excitedly. Yes. We can interview some sellers who have benefited from the app, like Auntie Mona. If people see how it's helped their neighbors, they'll trust it again. The next day, Chidi and Zuri borrowed a small camera from Uncle Ode and started visiting sellers who used Lagos market code. Auntie Muna was the first one they filmed. She spoke warmly about how the app had made her life easier, bringing her more customers and saving her time. "I don't have to shout and struggle to get people's attention," Auntie Muna said into the camera, smiling. "I can just put my items on the app, and people order from their homes. It's helped me grow my business." Chidi and Zuri filmed other sellers too, gathering heartfelt stories of how the app had changed their lives. They even included a tutorial showing how to use Lagos market code safely, so no one would think it was a trick. Finally, they edited the video and posted it online, sharing it with everyone in the market and on social media. They waited, anxious and hopeful, to see how people would react. The next morning, Chidi and Zuri arrived at the market early. At first, it was quiet. But slowly, people began gathering around them, phones in hand. They had seen the video, and many looked thoughtful, some even apologetic. A few sellers walked up to Chidi and thanked him for clearing things up. "I'm sorry for believing those rumors, Chidi," one man said. "Your app has really helped my business. I shouldn't have doubted you." Chidi felt a huge wave of relief and gratitude. He could see that people were beginning to trust him again. But just as things were coming down, Mr. Kola appeared, his face twisted in anger. "What is this nonsense, Chidi?" he sneered. "You think a silly video can change everything? You're just a kid. You don't know how business works." Chidi felt his hands tremble, but he stood his ground. "I know enough to see that people deserve a fair way to do business. Lagos market code is helping everyone, and they have a right to decide for themselves." Mr. Kola scoffed, but the crowd was no longer on his side. People whispered to each other, some even rolling their eyes at Mr. Kola's words. It was clear that Chidi's video had won them over. Realizing he was losing control, Mr. Kola's face turned red with frustration. "This isn't over, Chidi," he growled. "I won't let a little boy ruin my business." But as he stormed away, the crowd began to clap and cheer for Chidi. Sellers patted him on the back, thanking him for standing up to Mr. Kola and for creating an app that helped them. With renewed confidence, Chidi looked around at the people who had once doubted him, now smiling and supportive. He had taken on a powerful man and won their trust back. Yet, as he watched Mr. Kola disappear into the crowd, Chidi knew deep down that this might not be the last time he'd face him. But for now, he was proud. The days turned into weeks, and Lagos market code continued to grow. More sellers joined the app, and Chidi and Zuri worked tirelessly to improve its features, making it easier for users to navigate and find the best deals. They even hosted training sessions in the market, teaching sellers how to use the app effectively. But despite their success, Chidi couldn't shake the feeling that Mr. Kola was still plotting something. The man had a way of being sneaky and manipulating people, and Chidi was determined to keep his guard up. One afternoon, while Chidi was at home working on some new updates for the app, he received another message from an unknown number. This one made his heart race. It read, "You think you've won, Chidi? I have a surprise that will change everything. Be ready." Chidi felt his stomach drop. He quickly called Zuri, and they met at Uncle Ed's house, where they could talk without worry. "What do you think it means?" Zuri asked, her eyes wide with concern. "I don't know, but it can't be good," Chidi replied, pacing the room. "Mr. Kola has a way of causing trouble. We need to stay alert." Uncle Ode overheard them and joined in. "Chidi, Zuri, you're doing great work, but it's smart to be cautious. If Mr. Kola is indeed planning something, you need to be ready to face it." They spent the next few days preparing for whatever might come. Chidi and Zuri decided to gather more support from the market sellers. They organized a meeting in the square, inviting everyone to come and talk about their experiences with Lagos market code and share any concerns they might have. As they spoke to the crowd, Chidi felt more confident than ever. The sellers were enthusiastic, sharing stories about how the app had helped them find new customers and make more money. People laughed and clapped, creating a sense of community that made Chidi proud. But just when he thought everything was going smoothly, Mr. Kola appeared again, this time with a group of people behind him. They were all wearing shirts with his logo on them and looked ready for a fight. "Listen up," Mr. Kola shouted, his voice booming over the crowd. "These kids think they can run a business and take money from you without paying taxes. They are cheating you. I have proof." Chidi's heart raced. He had no idea what Mr. Kola was talking about. The crowd began to murmur, and he felt the air grow tense. Zuri squeezed his hand, trying to stay calm. "What proof do you have, Mr. Kola?" Chidi called out, his voice steady despite the fear bubbling inside him. "Lagos market code is helping everyone, and you know it." Mr. Kola grinned, his eyes glinting with malice. "Oh, but do I? I have documents right here that show Lagos market code has been operating illegally, not paying any taxes. If you keep using it, you'll be in serious trouble." He held up papers for everyone to see, and the crowd gasped. Some people looked worried, glancing at each other and whispering. Chidi's heart sank. If Mr. Kola had those documents, he could ruin everything they'd built. But he couldn't let fear take over. "Those documents are fake," Chidi shouted, hoping to keep the crowd from turning against him. "Mr. Kola just wants to scare you because he's afraid of competition." A few sellers stepped forward, expressing their support for Chidi and Lagos market code. "We've seen how it's helped us," one man shouted. "We won't let Mr. Kola bully us." Mr. Kola's expression darkened. He realized his plan was starting to backfire. In a fit of rage, he shouted, "You'll regret this, Chidi. I won't stop until I bring you down." With that, he turned and stormed away, but Chidi felt the weight of uncertainty pressing on his shoulders. He knew Mr. Kola wouldn't give up easily, and now it seemed like he was playing a more dangerous game. That night, Chidi couldn't sleep. He sat up in bed, staring at his laptop, trying to figure out how to protect his app from Mr. Kola's threats. Suddenly, he had an idea. If he could find a way to prove the legitimacy of Lagos market code, maybe he could turn the tide in their favor. He called Zuri the next morning, and they met at Uncle Ed's house again. "What if we gather all the sellers who use the app and show that we're helping them?" Chidi suggested. "If we can get them to sign a letter of support, it'll show that we're a real business." Zuri nodded, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "That's a brilliant idea, Chidi. We can show the tax office that we're doing everything right." They spent the next few days reaching out to every seller they had interviewed before. They explained their plan and asked each one to sign a letter showing their support for Lagos market code. The response was overwhelming, with many eager to help. Finally, they compiled all the letters and evidence of the app's positive impact on the market. They created a document that showed exactly how Lagos market code worked and how it benefited everyone. With Uncle Ed's help, they filed everything with the tax office, proving their compliance. But just as they felt a wave of relief, another message came in from Mr. Kola. "You may have won this round, Chidi, but I have a plan that will crush your little app for good. Just wait." Chidi's heart dropped. Mr. Kola was not finished. But Chidi was determined to keep fighting. He knew he had the support of the sellers, and together, they would protect Lagos market code at all costs. The battle was far from over, and Chidi was ready for whatever came next. As the weeks passed, Chidi and Zuri kept their spirits high, but they were always on edge, waiting for Mr. Kola's next move. They continued to work hard on Lagos market code, and with the seller's support, more people began to trust the app. They held community meetings, sharing updates and listening to feedback, making improvements along the way. One sunny afternoon, as Chidi was adjusting some app features in his small room, Zuri burst through the door, her face beaming. "Chidi, you won't believe it. I just got off the phone with the tax office." Chidi's heart raced. "What did they say?" "They confirmed that everything is fine with our application. We are fully compliant." Zuri jumped up and down, and Chidi couldn't help but join her. They hugged tightly, their joy spilling over like a fountain. "That's amazing. But what about Mr. Kola?" Chidi asked, his excitement mingled with worry. "Here's the best part," Zuri said, catching her breath. "The tax office said they've received complaints about Mr. Kola's business practices too. They are going to investigate him." Chidi felt a mix of relief and excitement. "So he might be in trouble." "Exactly. We just need to keep doing what we're doing," Zuri replied, her eyes sparkling. "If we stay transparent and keep supporting the sellers, we'll win this." The next day, Chidi and Zuri decided to take their message further. They organized a big event in the market, inviting all the sellers to join them. They planned fun activities, including games, cooking demonstrations, and even a small talent show. Chidi and Zuri wanted to celebrate their community, showcasing how Lagos market code had brought everyone together. On the day of the event, the market was alive with laughter and joy. Chidi and Zuri set up a booth where people could share their experiences, with the app sellers lined up to speak, sharing how they had found new customers and made more money. The crowd listened, their faces filled with admiration and hope. But in the middle of the festivities, Chidi noticed Mr. Kola standing at the edge of the crowd, watching with a frown. He seemed out of place, his arms crossed tightly. Chidi felt a knot in his stomach, knowing that Mr. Kola wouldn't just stand by while they celebrated their success. Then, to Chidi's surprise, Mr. Kola stepped forward. "Listen up, everyone," he called out, his voice slicing through the cheerful atmosphere. "You really believe this kid can help you? You're making a big mistake." Chidi's heart raced, but he refused to be intimidated. He stepped forward, ready to defend their efforts. "Mr. Kola, we are not afraid of your tricks anymore. We have the support of the community, and we are proving that Lagos market code is a force for good." The crowd murmured in agreement, rallying behind Chidi. Some sellers even began to clap, their faith in him growing stronger. Mr. Kola's face twisted in anger, but he pressed on. "You regret trusting him. I'll make sure of it." But before he could say more, Zuri stepped up beside Chidi. "We are building something positive here, Mr. Kola. You can't destroy what's already helping so many people. The truth is on our side." Chidi looked around at the crowd, feeling their energy. Lagos market code is here to stay. Together, we are stronger, and we will not let fear hold us back. The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices blending into a beautiful symphony of support. Mr. Kola glared at Chidi and Zuri, then turned away, his shoulders slumped in defeat. He realized he was outnumbered and that the people had chosen to stand with the truth. After the event, Chidi and Zuri received more positive feedback, and the app continued to thrive. They worked tirelessly to improve it, adding new features and listening to the sellers' needs. The community was growing stronger, and so was the bond between the sellers and their customers. Weeks later, Chidi received a message from the tax office. They had concluded their investigation into Mr. Kola's business practices and found irregularities. He was going to face serious consequences for his actions. Chidi couldn't believe it, justice was finally being served. With the news spreading, even more sellers joined Lagos Market Code, eager to be part of a supportive community that valued honesty and hard work. Chidi and Zuri celebrated their victory but knew it was only the beginning. They had created something special, a way for sellers to thrive together in a challenging world. As Chidi looked out at the bustling market, filled with smiling faces and laughter, he felt a warmth in his heart. He had faced fears, fought for what was right, and learned the true power of community. He knew that as long as they worked together, they could overcome anything. And so, Chidi and Zuri continued their journey, always ready for the next adventure. Together, they built a future filled with hope, courage, and unbreakable bonds, proving that in unity, there is strength, and in truth, there is victory.